the class if you want to do the practice again. Just a couple of other quick announcements. Happening at the Y, Jennifer Glossinger is starting to teach an in-person Monday night vinyasa class. I think she had her first class this past week. She had taught for the Y prior to last year, but had been deployed. I can't remember if she was guard or active duty, but she is back teaching a Monday evening vinyasa class. You will have to pre-register for that class because size is limited if you are interested in person. Shahana is still teaching Saturday mornings on Zoom for this month, but I think that she will be switching back to in-person next month, but just reach out to us if you've got questions about the stuff on the schedule. But those are just my couple of announcements. So we will go ahead and come to comfortable seat for practice. For the month of July, we will be focusing on hip opening postures. So as you find your comfortable seat, if you would like to choose to sit up on a block or a prop, you may. Oftentimes my invitation is to sit either with ankles under knees, but for this morning, if I would like you to explore coming into Siddhasana with heels in towards the groin. And as you come in to set up for this pose, you want to take more of the top of your foot down with the heel towards the groin, and same thing. You can take either the right foot in or the left foot in first. And then again, trying to take more of the top of the foot onto the mat, heels close towards the groin, okay? And if this isn't working for you, come to Sukhasana, but this pose is called Siddhasana or sage pose. Hands on the knees, lean forward, lean slightly back. Find that spot where you feel the shoulders stacked evenly, finding that floating sensation, shoulders directly over the hips. Allow the eyes to close. And just begin to come and settle into your Ujjayi breath. So you breathe in through the nose. Notice the temperature of the air as it flows down the back of the throat, expanding the lungs, expanding the belly. And as you exhale out, find a sighing sensation through the breath as you sigh the breath out through the mouth. Inhale, breathing in deeply, lifting through the spine, lifting through the crown of the head. Keep the height through the crown. Exhale, sigh the breath out. Inhale fully. Exhale, mouth closed. Sigh the breath out through the nose. Continuing at your own pace, continue to find that same sensation. Light constriction at the back of the throat in the inhale. Taking that full breath in and exhaling, keep that same constriction at the back of the throat. Find that ocean sound as you sigh the breath out through the nose. Allow your breath to settle you. But with the eyes still closed and find those same smooth, even inhales and exhales, just let your awareness and your attention drop to the space around your hips. And as you feel in and think about visualizing the space around your hips, try to picture skeletally the ball and socket aspect of that joint. Oftentimes when we do think of hip opening postures in yoga, it's more about the outer and the back side of the hip. But in our practice this morning, we want to remember that the hip has a circumference to it. We'll be exploring opening up the front, the inner, the back, lateral sides of the hip, and what those dimensions look like and what areas of tightness we have on different components and aspects of the hip. And just have the role of the observer, less of the judge. On your next inhale, draw your hands together in front of your heart, pausing to set an intention for your practice. And if you'd like to begin your practice with one Om, inhale deeply for Om. Slowly bow your head towards your fingertips. Softly allow the eyes to open. Release the hands and come straight to downward facing dog, please. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Place your hands shoulder width distance apart. Fingers are spread wide. You can bend one knee at a time in your down dog, releasing through the calves. But then, after you take a little bit of that movement, try to find some stillness here. As you reach and ground through the pads of the fingertips, press the floor away through the palms, through the arms, broadening the upper back as you rotate upper biceps outward towards your pinkies. Lift the hip points up. Feel that stretch through the back of the legs. Draw the low belly in. Draw the feet towards one another. And again, just softly draw your awareness towards your hips and how your hips are working in this posture here. Or is there tightness in the low back? Is there relief through the hips as you come into down dog? On an inhale, sweep the right leg up, come high behind you. Bend the right knee in the air, and we're going to do a few hip circles with that right knee. So as you exhale, draw the knee in towards the belly. Exhale, looping it back up, point it straight up. Inhale, drawing it in. Exhale, circling back up. Inhale, draw it in. Exhale, circle up, and drop that right foot down. On 3 more on the second side, inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, bend the left knee, open up the hip. Beginning to find those circles. Exhale, knee in. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, draw the knee in. Exhale, loop and circle up, knee up towards the ceiling. Exhale, knee in. Inhale, up and around. Then exhale, drop the left foot, drop the knees. Take the knees wide to the outside edges of the mat. Sit back towards the heels. Rest for a moment in child's pose with the knees spread apart. You may always come to Balasana at any point in your practice. Pause for a moment to take the pose in a more active stance. Press down through the base of the fingertips, lift the forearms up off the floor. Use the leverage of the fingertips to push the hips back closer towards the heels. Forearms stay lifted. Breathe in deeply to the low back. And then exhale, plant the palms. Come through tabletop. Tuck the toes. Lift up and back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, inhale to plank. Rock forward lightly on the toes, drop the knees. Untuck the toes. And just to kind of balance out some of the work that we're doing with the hips in this class, we're going to be doing some rounds of these low chaturanga push-ups. So in chaturanga, elbows hug the side bodies. You exhale, lower halfway down, gaze forward. Inhale, press back up. Exhale, elbows by the side body, halfway down, chaturanga push-up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, elbows hug the side body. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, tuck the toes to downward facing dog. And then begin to walk the feet forward to the top edge of your mat. Have a soft bend in the knees here. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold Uttanasana. Inhale, arms to the side, flat back. Reach up and lift the gaze. Exhale, release your hands to prayer. We're going to do just 3 half salutes, creating some rhythm and tempo with the breath. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, flat back, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, spine long. Exhale, refold, Uttanasana, low belly in. Inhale, arms to the side, reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, lift the arms, lift the gaze. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, heart forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms to the side, reach up and lengthen. Exhale, hands to prayer. One more of those. Inhale, halfway up or all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, spine long, shoulders even with hips. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana, gaze towards navel. Inhale, arms to the side, flat back as you reach up and lengthen. Exhale, hands to prayer. A few rounds of lunge salutations. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, palms down. Take a large right step back. Lower the right knee down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, palms down. Inhale to plank. Exhale, forward on the toes. Drop the knees. 3 chaturanga push-ups. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, little chaturanga push-up. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale, low belly in, halfway down. Inhale, pressing up. Tuck toes, lift up and back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, right foot forward, back knee down. You can always help that right foot forward if it needs a little support. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fingertips down. Inhale, step forward and fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, arms to the side, flat back, reach up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, palms down. Take a large left step back, left knee down. Inhale, arms lift up, gaze rises. Exhale, fingertips to the mat. Inhale to plank. Forward on the toes, and you can either do straight leg or keep the knee down. Chaturanga push-ups. Exhale, lower. Inhale to plank. Exhale, elbows do the side body. Inhale, press up. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, left foot forward, back knee down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, lift the back knee. Exhale, forward and fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen. Exhale, Uttanasana, crown of the head towards the floor. Inhale, arms to the side, flat back, reach up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, lift the gaze, lift the hands. Exhale, flat back, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, back of neck stays long. Exhale, palms down, take a large right step back and stay on keep the back knee lifted here. I want you to place the hands down to the mat. Oftentimes I like to stay up on fingertips for buoyancy, but for right now, allow your torso to be a little bit heavier. Take the palms entirely flat. And with the palms entirely flat, they may be up on a block or a prop if you need some more support or to lift the ground a little bit higher. Allow yourself to let the pelvis feel a little bit heavy here. All these lunges are really good for getting into front of hips. So as you allow the pelvis to be a little bit heavy here, keep pressing through that right back heel. Inhale, think heavy through the pelvis. Exhale, push through the right heel. Inhale, allow the face to stay soft, pelvis heavy. Exhale, push through the right heel. One more deep breath. Exhale, slowly extend out through that right heel a little bit more. Inhale, step to plank. Just normal lower chaturanga, no push-up. Inhale to upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale, lift the right leg up. Exhale, large right foot forward between the hands. If the foot doesn't make it, grab onto the back heel, help it a little bit forward. Just as we did on the first side, we'll take the palms totally flat to the floor or to a block if you need to lift it up a little bit higher. Your torso may be leaning on your thigh more substantially in this variation, but as you stay here and work with it, think about getting the pelvis heavy as you press through that left heel. Inhale, soften the face, soften the chest. Exhale, let the pelvis sink a little bit more. Inhale fully. Exhale, soften and drop. Inhale. Exhale, pelvis heavy, press to the left heel. Inhale, take a large step forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up, heart forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms to the side, flat back, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lift the arms, lift the gaze. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, spine long. Exhale, palms down, take a large left step back and lower the left knee all the way down. Take that same variation, palms flat. From here, I want you to lift the back knee so it is just barely hovering. So there's not going to be a lot of space there, but I want you to let it hover. And with that knee just barely hovering, keep the back of the neck long, think pelvis heavy, and push a little bit like you're trying to drag your right heel back towards the back of the mat. Breathe with that. Inhale. Exhale, one. Keep that back knee a little bit heavy as you drag, feel like you're dragging the right heel back. Keep breathing. And then inhale, straighten the left leg, step back with the right foot. Inhale fully in plank. Either knee down or straight leg, chaturanga, low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, left foot forward, back knee down. Keep the palms of the hands flat onto the mat. And with the knee down, make the pelvis heavy. And then inhale, find that point where the right knee is just barely hovering above the mat. Breathing into it here. And begin to find that little bit of work as the pelvis feels like it's dropping. Feel that you're dragging the left heel towards the back of the mat. Continue to breathe, pelvis heavy, but engagement through the legs. Inhale. Exhale, two. Inhale. Exhale, three. Press up to a higher lunge. Inhale, step forward, and exhale, fold. Inhale, arms to the side, flat back, reach up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, spine long. Exhale, palms down. Take a large right step back and drop the right knee down to the mat. Inhale, reach up. Gaze lifts. Exhale, hands to your hips. Inhale, lift the heart back out of the lunge a little bit with the fingertips on the hips. Imagine that you are tilting the bowl of your pelvis up. Press down in the top of your right foot down into the mat. Keep lifting your hip points up as you press that right foot down. Draw the shoulders back and down. Turn the heart a little bit forward. In most bodies, you will feel this a lot in the front of your right hip flexors here. Right now, we are getting a lot into front of hip, all in this beginning of the class. Stay here with your hands on your hips if it's helpful to have that awareness of tilting the pelvis up to isolate that movement, or extend the arms up, palms turned in towards each other. Inhale here. Exhale, fingertips down. Inhale to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, right foot forward, back knee down. Untuck the back toes. Inhale, lift the chest. Lift the arms, sorry. Exhale, release your hands towards your hips. Backing out of the deep lunge a little bit here, so the knee is stacked over the ankle. And with your hands on your hips, tilt the pelvis up, tilt those hip points up towards your bottom ribs. Lengthen the tailbone down, feeling that isolation in that front of that left hip flexor. Press the top of your left foot down. Collarbones stay wide, left glute engaged. Press the top of the left foot down. Stay here, or extend the arms. Palms are turned in towards one another. Gaze forward, or lift the gaze, keeping the neck in line with the spine. Inhale. Exhale, fingertips down. Inhale, take a large left step forward. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, arms to the side, flat back, reach up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, lift the arms, lift the gaze. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. From Uttanasana, take a large right step back and walk your fingertips over to the right. So find yourself in Prasarita Padmasana, or wide-legged forward fold. As you come into this posture, check to see that the outer edges of your feet are parallel with the short ends of the mat. So your toes are pointing the same direction. And as much as possible, make sure that they are pointing forward and not either in or out just yet. Find balance between the front and the back corners of the feet on an inhale. And on an exhale, thighs engaged, any amount begin to fold forward. Let the crown of the head be heavy. Low belly draws in. Allow the breath to settle here. If you were very open in this posture, you can take the hands in line with the toes. You may turn the fingers backwards, walk the hands through the legs, fingertips pointing the opposite direction of the toes. And as you breathe here, draw your awareness softly back towards that capsule joint of the hip. We started our practice working a lot of front of hip. We're going to transition now more into the inner border of the hip, inner leg. Okay. One more full breath here. And then come back onto your hands. Take the hands directly beneath the shoulders and turn the right toes out towards the right corner of your mat. And as you do that, place your left hand so it's more directly under the center of your chest, and take your right forearm towards that inner portion of your right leg. And with your forearm, gently encourage that right knee a little bit further back. Okay, try to keep balanced in the feet, but with that co-activation of the arm against the leg, just press a little bit back. Breathe here. Good. So we're not going full Skandasana, which gets more into our hamstrings. I want you to really think about pressing the tailbone back and getting into that inner portion of the hip. One more breath. And then inhale, normalize the feet. Step the left foot a little bit further to the left, and then turn the left toes so they're pointed to the left corner of the mat. Bend into the left knee. Right arm comes underneath the center of the chest. Left forearm comes to the inner thigh. Press the forearm against the thigh. Get long through the torso. Stay balanced in the weight through the feet, but keep pressing that left thigh back. Lengthen the tailbone. Stick with that work. Good. And an exhale, parallel the feet. And from here, this time I'd like you to turn the heels in, toes pointed out, coming more to a horse stance here. So both hands will be down. Take both forearms now to the inner thighs. Good. One of my teachers likes to call this football coach pose. So both forearms to the inner thighs, heels in, toes out. Drop the tailbone, lengthen the chest forward. So that same action of the forearms pressing out against the inner thighs as the inner thighs squeeze back against the arms. One more breath. And then inhale, press through the feet, come to stand. Take the arms out to a straight line. Cactus your arms. Right elbow on top of left, back of hands touching, or palm to palm. From there, keep eagle arms, Garudasana arms, and then rebend into the legs, back to that goddess stance, football coach stance. Stay here, or begin to drop the chest forward. Keep encouraging the knees not to collapse inward. Keep pressing the knees out as you fold. Inhale, round through the upper back. Exhale, low belly in. Inhale, press the inner thighs out and away. Exhale, relax and drop deeper. Inhale, inner thighs out. Exhale, low belly in. Inhale, press through the legs, come back to stand, arms wide. And then exhale, left elbow on top of right. One more round of this. Find your eagle arms with the opposite elbow on top. Exhale, rebend into the knees. Lengthen the tailbone down. Exhale, low belly in, drop it forward. So allowing the rounding in the upper back. Keep encouraging the low belly to draw in. Inner legs pushing outward, but your feet are heavy and grounded. Weight is balanced in the corners of the feet. Inhale deeply. Exhale, soften through the pelvis. Inhale. Exhale, relax and soften. Inhale, press the legs, release the arms. And exhale, take a large right step forward to the top edge of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up, gaze lifts. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway up, spine long. Exhale, step to downward facing dog, please. From downward facing dog, inhale, right leg rises. Exhale, bend the right knee. Allow the hip to open up. So with the right knee pointed up towards the ceiling, keep the weight balanced evenly through the hands. And on an exhale, take a large right step forward between the hands. Turn and ground the back heel. Inhale, left arm up and back, coming to warrior two. Now, drop your hands to your hips for a moment. And notice if it feels like your left hip, your left hand is higher than your right. And as a little adjustment, lift the right hip up, keep dropping and wrapping that left hip tailbone down until it feels like your left hand is even with your right. It's useful to have a mirror here for that, but find that point. And with the hands on the hips, imagine that you're going to spread the skin on the front side, opening it up. Feel that opening through that inner border of the hips and extend the arms, lengthen your gaze forward. One more deep inhale here, get a little bit heavier through that right knee. And exhale, take your right hand to the inside of the right foot. Again, if you have a block or would like the floor to be a little bit higher up here, use your tools. Be skillful about it. From here, left arm reaches forward and then up alongside your head. As you work here, use the feedback of the arm against that inner right leg, inner right thigh, to open up the hip more deeply as the chest turns open. Deep, full breath. And then inhale, rise back up, straighten the right leg, Trikonasana triangle pose. Right arm reaches forward, right hand to leg to block the floor. And sometimes when we come into triangle, we can just be kind of mild or not as engaged. Take your hands briefly to your thighs. Feel that both thighs are engaged. Keep the work in the legs, re-straighten the arms. Take the gaze where it's comfortable for the neck. One more inhalation. Exhale, slowly rise back up. Cartwheel the hands down. Take the vinyasa, come to down dog. Take child's pose. You always have options. We will all meet in downward facing dog, please. From downward facing dog, inhale. Left leg rises up and back behind you. As you exhale, open the knee up, bend the knee. Lift the knee up towards the ceiling. Equalize the weight in the palms and in the arms. So you really feel the stretch and the lift through that upper leg. Exhale, take a large left step forward between the hands. Turn and ground the back heel. Virabhadrasana 2, right arm lifts you up and back. Release the hands to the hips. And again, notice where your hands are. If your right hand is higher up, that right hip is lifting up higher than the left. Encourage them to find evenness with each other, okay? So that means usually lifting the left hip up, wrapping the right tailbone further under. Hands on the hips. Imagine that you're spreading out the skin, making yourself wide through that inner thigh. Arms lift out, gazes over the left fingertips. Settling here for a few steady, smooth breaths. Virabhadrasana 2. Tailbone dropping down. Gaze is soft. Legs are strong. Inner thighs opening up here. From here, exhale, take the left palm down to the inside of the left leg. Again, have a block nearby if you'd like to use a tool. Raise the floor a little bit higher, but find that point of contact of your upper arm against that inner leg. On an inhale, left arm sweeps up and open. So as the left arm is pressing into that left thigh is also squeezing in. So that co-activation work and that feedback loop should give you a pretty nice opening through the hip, as well as give you a nice twisting opening sensation through the chest. One more deep inhalation here. Exhale, reach up and back through Warrior 2, then straighten the left leg. So we come to Trikonasana for triangle. Reach the left arm forward, dropping down to the floor, to the block, to the leg. Gaze lifts. And just as we did on the first side, you can take your hands towards both of your thighs. Feel the contraction and the work through both of your quads. Keep that nice strong work in the legs. Re-extend the arms. Breathe with us here. And then exhale. Bend or drop the right arm. Walk the fingertips over to the right. Return to Prasarita Padmasana. Hands underneath the shoulders. Equalize the weight. So toes are pointing forward. Exhale, thighs engaged. Drop down. You may find now that you might have a little bit more space to fold deeper. Crown of the head may more comfortably come towards the floor. One more full breath. And then either stay as you are or slowly begin to take the feet wider apart, moving more to Samo Konasana, side splits. Samo is a Sanskrit phrase meaning even or balanced. We are trying to find even balanced work in our hips today. So take this slowly. You want to try to keep the hips more in line with the legs here. Keep the toes pointing forward. One full breath. One more, maybe allow yourself to drop a little bit lower. And then slowly take the feet a little bit further, close together. Walk the fingertips over to the left. Inhale, take a large step forward to the top edge of your mat. And exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up, heart forward. Exhale, palms down. Take a large right step. Left step back to plank. Drop the knees wide to the outside edges of the mat. Step back towards the heels to child's pose. Full deep breath here. If anybody has questions, I don't think I've actually done Samokhanasana in class for a long time. If you've got questions about that, I can definitely answer those for you now, or you can stick around with me after class and we can chat about that a little bit more. Full deep breath in your child's pose. And then transition to downward facing dog, please. And as we are now moving towards what people tend to think about with hip openers, more outer back hip. Starting with most people's favorite one, pigeon pose. Inhale, reach the right leg up. Bend the right knee, take the right knee to the right wrist. And as soon as the left knee drops, tuck the knee and walk the knee a little bit further back. One adjustment that might be useful for you here, I'm gonna switch sides so you can see this a little bit more clearly. Sometimes it's useful to take the left hand into the arch of the right foot to kind of anchor the shin as you take the back knee a little bit further back, just to kind of keep it in place. From here, I want you just to take the hands in front of you, almost like you were doing down dog. So instead of immediately dropping down and not necessarily coming into an up dog back bend, place the palms in front of you, almost like you're doing down dog, okay? And with the palms fully grounded, the arms fully straight, feel a little bit of that right hip drawing back, left hip forward, a little bit of gentle pressure of the right shin down into the mat, and a little bit of an activation of the top of the left foot down into the mat. Breathing here. And then as you exhale, keep that same work and position in the legs, maybe come down to forearms. Again, I don't want you to drop all the way down to your deepest version of, you can take your belly straight to the floor. It's not where I want you to be. Keep the forearms pressing down. And with your forearms pressing down, feel that the hands are dragging back isometrically. Find a little bit of that press of the shin down, press of the top of the left foot down. One more deep breath here. And then exhale, plant the hands, tuck the toes of the back foot, lift up and back into downward facing dog, lifting the right leg way up. Find length through the leg, and then exhale, allow the right leg to float back down towards the mat. And then from here, inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, left knee, left wrist. Lower the right knee down. As soon as that knee touches down, sneak it back. Again, take the right hand into the arch of the left foot. Try to keep that left foot more anchored. Take the right knee a little bit further back. Untuck the toes. And again, starting where we find that position, with the arms extended straight. Again, almost like you're doing down dog in pigeon pose. Find the pull, that left hip slightly back, right hip slightly forward. Gentle press of the left shin down into the mat and the top of the right foot down into the mat. One more deep breath here. And then exhale. Drop down to the forearms if that's available. And again, collarbones wide. Find that isometric dragging pressure of the elbows back towards that shin. Keep the left hip drawing back, left hip pressing down, and the top of the right foot pressing down into the mat. There's a lot of muscles. It's that cross over this back side, outer side of the hip. It's why it tends to, when people think about hip opening, this is the part that tends to come to the forefront of their mind. There's just a lot of heavy, dense, strong muscles in that area, which is why sometimes a little bit more lingering work tends to happen here. Good. And from here, come back onto your hands, tuck the back toes, lift up and back to downward facing dog with that left leg fully extended. And then exhale, drop it all the way down. From here, inhale, right leg rises up behind you. Take a large right step forward between the hands, turn and ground the back heel. Again, if you want to have a block nearby, it might be helpful. Both legs straight. If you have a block, place it to the outside of your right foot. And mindfully turn and drag the right hip a little bit further back to help square the pelvis. Press to the base of the right big toe. And exhale, fold forward a little bit over that right leg. So a couple of breaths in pyramid pose here before we take our left hand and take it to our block or to the floor on the outside of the left leg. On an inhale, stay here or extend the right arm up. Press or revolved triangle pose, Parvrita Trikonasana. Full inhalation, a lot of outer hip. Full breath. Exhale, drop the top arm. And then setting the block to the middle in front of you if you're using one. Step back to downward facing dog. On an inhale, take a large left step forward between the hand, turn and ground the back foot. Block will go to the outside of the left foot if you're using one. And just for a moment in pyramid pose, both legs straight. Feel that you're wrapping that right hip forward, dragging the left heel back. Deep stretch, hamstring here first, a little bit of beginning to feel that outer hip a little bit more in pyramid as you even out the pelvis. Keep the low belly drawing in, press down through the base of the left big toe. And on an exhale, take the right hand, place it to the outside of the left foot, and stay here, or reach the top arm up. Maybe allow the gaze to lift. Parvrita Trikonasana, or revolved triangle pose. Keep hugging the left hip in. One more full breath here. Exhale, release the top arm down. Set the block to the side and step back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, step the right knee to the center of the mat, but take the right foot to the left edge of the mat, and then take the left knee directly behind the right. I'm going to turn so you can see that, and I'll be facing you the other way. We're going to come into Gomukhasana. So knees are stacked, and you're going to sit down to the space between the shins. And if it's uncomfortable to sit down fully, use a pillow, use a block. And the heels can be close to the hips, or the shins can be more parallel here. Okay, Gomukhasana, or cow face pose, with the right knee, or I have to think about how I got myself into this. Yeah, right knee on top of left. Good. I'm not going to be mirroring you here in this seated posture. Now, full traditional Gomukhasana is with the arms bound in the back. But for today, I want you to take your right forearm and wrap it, left forearm, hug your left knee. So your right knee is coming into the crook of your left elbow. You're going to take a little bit more of a twist. And as you allow your torso to turn, I want you to press your right knee into your forearm here. So left elbow is hugging it in, but right knee is pressing down. Your right hand can just be back here for support. Full deep breath, just good isometric work here as you're stretching that right outer hip at the same time you're asking it to work. It's one of the most efficient ways to safely build greater flexibility in any of our muscle groups. An inhale, slowly come back to center. And just for one moment, reach the right arm up into the sky. Allow it to pat the middle of the back, keep the chin lifted. Left elbow, thumb down, reach behind. Hands can come towards one another, maybe holding on to your shirt. And as the hands come to where they come, find a little bit of that press of the right knee down onto the left knee, Gomukhasana. Chest lifted, and exhale, slowly release the fingertips. Plant the fingertips behind you, lift the knees, Navasana, boat pose. Low belly draws in, shins parallel, maybe extend the legs straight, heart up. Exhale, cross right ankle in front of left, little bit of momentum forward, press into the palms, maybe find a little float, maybe jump back, step back, come through your vinyasa, chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And we'll do the same thing on the second side. So stepping the left knee down first, left foot comes to the outside of the mat, and take the right knee directly behind it. And I'm going to turn so I face you guys. But left knee is on top of right this time. Again, sitting on a cushion or on a block, finding Gomukhasana, legs. Again, heels can be close towards the hips. You may also take the shins more parallel with the front edge of your mat. Sitting up nice and tall. And this time, inhale, reach the right arm up. As you exhale, reach around, wrap the knee into the crook of your right elbow. So left knee, right elbow. And begin to find a little bit of that work once more. So press that left knee into your forearm as the left elbow continues to hug in. I feel that really just a nice awareness in the outer hip when I do this. Again, it's a stretch in the outer hip. At the same time, you're working that muscle group a little bit as you find this push and the pull. Sticking with that work for one more cycle of breath. And then inhale, lift the chest. This time our left arm is going to come up. Left hand will come to the middle of the back. Extend the right arm out. Flip the thumb down and let that hand reach back, either coming to grasping your fingertips or shirt, or just letting the hands be in this position. Chest lifted, press the top of that left knee a little bit down. Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Full inhalation here. Exhale, slowly release the arms. Plant the fingertips behind you. Navasana. Lift the shins parallel to the floor. Arms come out, chest lifted, low belly in. Legs straight. Smiles always help the pose. And exhale, cross the left ankle on top of the right. Rock a little bit forward. Keep the knees close to the chest, straight arms. Weight a little bit forward. Maybe a little hover. Step back, jump back. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Good. So a little bit more outer hip as we're doing full rounds of hips in this class. Just a couple more for the outer hip. Jump the feet forward to the middle of the mat. Sit down on the bottom. Move my mat a little bit here. And I want you to come to a figure four. So right ankle above the left knee. Just like this, pretty standard. With the right hand, grab onto your right foot. And it's almost like you're doing a seated happy baby. I want you to pull the knee out to the right. Okay, so push the foot into your hand. You might want to use both hands here. A little bit of work right there. Just pushing the foot out, but the left knee is not going to let it go forward. Okay. And exhale, change sides. Left ankle above right knee. Right hand, left hand, grab onto the foot. Push the foot into your right hand, but pull it back with the left. And it's not going to go forward because your knee is there blocking it. It's one of those things where you totally control how much effort you put into the isometric contraction here. So you might be sitting there and people are like, wow, why are you working so hard? I'm like, well, it's kind of hard. One more deep inhalation here. And then exhale, come to lie on your back. And just kind of a follow-up to that twist. I need to move a little bit. Be mindful of your space. We're going to be coming to a reclined twist, but it's going to be helpful if you have a little bit of more space on either side of you. So right ankle on top of, right above the knee on the thigh. So again, just like you're doing a figure four. I'm going to turn this way actually in case you want to see. But what we're going to do from the figure four, roll to your left side and then take your left hand to the top of the right foot. And once you roll over to the left, all the way onto your left side, then allow the right arm to open up. As you come into this position, create a little bit of a sensation of a back bend with the low back. So the right knee is pressing away from you. Create a sensation of a back bend in the low back as you're in the twist. And if this pose works well for you, it does a lot of my favorite things all in one pose. It's a little bit outer hip, a little bit of a twist, a little bit of a back bend. You get a little bit of a bang for your buck for a good end of the pose day. End of the day pose, I should say. Slowly come back to center and change sides. So left ankle above the right knee. And then from there, rolling fully onto your right side. Take the right hand on top of the left foot and then extend the left arm out. Again, as you come into the twist, keep pressing the left knee away from you and just a little bit of a sensation of a back bend in the low back. So that left foot is fully grounded, knee is pressing away. Stick with that for one more full breath. And then exhale. Hug both knees into the chest. And extend the legs fully out for Shavasana. As you come to extend the legs, again, draw your awareness back into the hips. Take the awareness into the front of the hip. Let your awareness move into the inner border of the hip. And then let it roll around to the back outer side of the hip. Allow that whole area to begin to absorb the work of your practice. Let it be heavy. And from that groundedness and heaviness, let it radiate through the legs, up through the torso, down the arms, and through the crown of the head. And as you feel that stillness, begin to find rest and quiet for these final minutes of our practice this morning. Slowly allow your breath to deepen once again. And let small movement return, stretching through the fingers and through the toes. And taking your ankles and your wrists in small circles. Your next inhale, reach the arms overhead. Take a full body stretch. And then on an exhale, roll to your right side. Keeping the eyes closed, use your hands to help yourself rise comfortably to a seated position. Finding that tall seat, the shoulders stacked evenly over the hips. I supported you through your whole practice this morning. I'll invite you to, if you'd like to seal your practice with one Om. Inhale for Om. And slowly bow your head towards your fingertips, taking gratitude for yourself and for your practice, and for those you practice with this morning. Namaste. Thanks always for being here. I'm going to pause the recording, but I'll be happy to stick around and visit with anybody if you have questions about anything. And if you'd like a copy of a recording of the practice today, my email's in the chat, and I'd be happy to share it with you. Okay.